Commander Vex stood at the bridge of the massive warship Dreadwing, his four eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth's surface. The blue-skinned alien commander had fought in countless battles across 3 galaxies, but something about this mission felt different. Intelligence reports about this particular human military installation had been strange. "Report," he ordered, his deep voice echoing across the bridge. Officer Red, his second-in-command, stepped forward with a data tablet. "Sir, our scans confirm the facility's location. The humans call it a K-9 training facility. Our intelligence suggests it's a bioweapon research center." Vex's upper eyes narrowed while his lower ones studied the facility's layout. The Stellar Empire had conquered 17 civilizations, but humans were proving to be unusually difficult to understand. Their military bases never quite matched expected patterns. "Show me the heat signatures," he commanded. The hologram shifted, revealing dozens of warm spots moving in organized patterns across the facility grounds. Some were clearly human, but others moved differently. They were faster, more agile, and seemed to work in perfect coordination with their human handlers. "What kind of creatures are they developing in there?" Vex muttered, more to himself than to his crew. The Empire's scientists had warned about human ingenuity, about their knack for turning simple things into deadly weapons. A junior officer's voice broke through his thoughts. "Sir, we're detecting unusual audio signatures from the facility. Playing now." The bridge filled with strange sounds, sharp, rhythmic barking noises that made several crew members step back in alarm. To their sensitive hearing, it sounded like war cries from some primitive but terrifying beast. "Enough." Vex raised his hand, and the audio cut off. "We've seen enough. This facility is clearly more dangerous than we initially thought. These humans have managed to breed some kind of battle beasts, and they're training them right under our noses." Officer Red looked nervous. "Sir, should we call for reinforcements?" Vex's 4 arms crossed over his armored chest. "No, we strike now, before they can deploy these weapons. Prepare the containment teams. I want that facility secured within the hour." The bridge burst into activity as orders were relayed and troops began to mobilize. Vex watched as dropships prepared for launch, their holds filled with the Empire's finest soldiers. Each was equipped with the latest containment gear, designed to handle any biological threat they might encounter. "Sir," Officer Red approached again, "what about the Human Rights Treaty? We're supposed to issue warnings before any military action." Vex's upper eyes blinked slowly. "This facility violates Section 7 of the same treaty. No development of biological weapons. We're within our rights to contain this threat." He paused, watching as the first dropships launched. "Besides, we're not here to harm anyone. We're here to prevent these humans from unleashing whatever beasts they've created." The dropships descended through Earth's atmosphere, their stealth systems making them virtually invisible to human detection systems. Vex watched through the tactical feed as his troops took up position around the facility. "All teams in position," the tactical officer reported. "Awaiting your command, sir." Vex took one last look at the heat signatures moving inside the facility. Whatever these battle beasts were, they wouldn't be leaving this place. The Empire had a duty to maintain peace and order, and that meant stopping dangerous weapons before they could be used. "Begin the operation," he ordered. "Containment teams, move in. Remember, we want the facility intact and the specimens secured. Let's show these humans that their beast program ends today." As his troops began their advance, Vex couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this whole situation. In his long career, he'd never seen bioweapons that moved quite like these did. But orders were orders, and the Empire's intelligence was rarely wrong. He was about to learn just how wrong intelligence could be. Staff Sergeant Mike Thompson was having a perfectly normal morning until the alien showed up. He had just finished his first coffee of the day and was heading to the kennels to start morning training with Max, his favorite German shepherd, when the facility's lights went red. "What in the world?" he muttered, watching as strange ships appeared in the sky. They seemed to materialize out of nowhere, sleek and dangerous looking. Definitely not anything from Earth. Max, who had been walking beside him, let out a small whine. Thompson reached down to pat the dog's head. "It's okay, boy. We've trained for emergencies." Though he had to admit alien invasion hadn't been part of the training manual. The facility's speaker system crackled to life. "This is not a drill. Unknown forces have surrounded the facility. All personnel implement security protocol Alpha 7. Secure all K9 units immediately." Thompson straightened his back. He'd been training military dogs for 15 years, and he wasn't about to let anything happen to them now. "Come on, Max. Let's get everyone safe." They rushed toward the main kennel building where 20 other dogs were housed. Through the windows, Thompson could see strange figures in metallic suits moving across the training field. They walked on 2 legs but had 4 arms, and their helmets showed multiple glowing eyes. "All handlers, this is Thompson." He spoke into his radio. "I'm at the main kennel. What's your status?" "Sir, Roberts here. I secured the West Kennels. These aliens, they're scanning everything with some kind of device." Cooper checking in. "East Kennels secured. But sir, they seem really interested in the dogs. Their scanners go crazy whenever they point them at the kennels." Thompson watched as more alien soldiers approached his building. Max stood quietly beside him, ears forward, alert but calm as his training had taught him. These were the moments Thompson was proud of. Even in this bizarre situation, the dog's training held true. Suddenly, the kennel's doors burst open. 4 alien soldiers entered, their weapons raised. Their armor was impressive, covered in blinking lights and what looked like force field generators. They moved with military precision, but Thompson noticed something odd. They seemed nervous. "Human." The lead alien called out in slightly mechanical-sounding English. "Step away from the biological weapon." Thompson blinked. "The what now?" "The beast." The alien pointed at Max. "Our scans show it's a highly evolved combat organism. We're here to contain this facility and all its specimens." Thompson couldn't help it. He started laughing. Max, picking up on his handler's amusement, wagged his tail and let his tongue loll out in a typical shepherd smile. The aliens took a step back. "It's displaying its combat teeth. Human, control your weapon." "This is Max," Thompson said slowly, trying to keep a straight face. "He's a dog, a German shepherd. He's not a weapon. He's a working animal. We train dogs here to help people." The alien soldiers looked at each other in confusion. Their weapons remained raised, but Thompson could sense their uncertainty. Max chose that moment to sit perfectly, still wagging his tail, showing off his basic obedience training. "Impossible," the lead alien said. "Our intelligence clearly shows the training patterns, the organized movements." A loud bark from one of the kennels made all 4 aliens jump. Their armor actually hummed as some kind of defense system activated. "Look," Thompson said, raising his hand slowly. "How about I show you what Max can really do? No weapons, no danger, just a demonstration of what we actually do here." The aliens conferred in their own language, a series of clicking sounds. Finally, the leader turned back to Thompson. "Proceed. But be warned, any aggressive action will be met with immediate response." Thompson smiled. "Max, heel." The shepherd moved smoothly to his side. "Now want to see something really impressive. Max, say hello." Max barked once, happily, and the aliens nearly fell over themselves, stepping back. Thompson sighed. This was going to be a long day of explaining that man's best friend wasn't actually a secret weapon. Though watching these tough alien soldiers jump at a friendly bark was pretty entertaining. The security cameras aboard the Dreadwing captured every moment of the unfolding scene, and Commander Vex couldn't believe what he was watching. His elite containment team, veterans of dozens of dangerous missions, were currently backing away from a furry creature that was chasing a ball. "Play that again," Vex ordered, his 4 eyes blinking in confusion. The footage replayed. Staff Sergeant Thompson had thrown a tennis ball, and the supposed battle beast had bounded after it with enthusiastic energy, tail wagging. The creature then returned, dropped the ball at the feet of the nearest alien soldier, and sat down, looking up expectantly. "Sir," Officer Red said carefully, "I don't think that's a weapon. Clearly it must be some kind of psychological warfare tactic," Vex insisted, but even he could hear the uncertainty in his voice. On the screen, one of his soldiers had cautiously picked up the ball with their lower right hand. The dog, Max, they'd learned it was called, was watching the ball with total focus. The soldier threw the ball, probably expecting some kind of explosive reaction. Instead, Max happily chased it down and brought it back again. This time, the soldier's body language seemed less tense. "Sir," a communications officer called out, "we're getting unusual requests from the containment team." "What kind of requests?" Vex asked, dreading the answer. They want to know if they can pet the beast." Vex slumped in his command chair. Years of military training, the finest equipment in 3 galaxies, and his troops were asking permission to pet what they'd thought was a biological weapon. The video feed switched to another area of the facility. More kennels were being opened under Thompson's supervision, and more dogs were meeting the alien soldiers. A young private was being enthusiastically licked by a golden retriever, their helmet covered in dog drool. Another soldier was scratching a husky's ears, having removed their armored gloves to do so. "This goes against everything in the intelligence reports," Vex muttered. "Where are the aggressive behaviors? The combat training? The biological weapons?" As if in answer, Thompson appeared on screen demonstrating a training exercise. A German shepherd ran an obstacle course, jumped through a window, and took down a padded training dummy with impressive precision. "There," Vex pointed. "That's what we were warned about." But then the dog immediately let go of the dummy at Thompson's whistle, trotted back wagging its tail, and rolled over for a belly rub. 3 alien soldiers rushed to provide said belly rub. "Should we abort the mission, sir?" Officer Red asked, trying to hide their amusement. Vex watched as more of his troops encountered different dogs. A team of hardened veterans were now playing fetch with a pack of labs. 2 security specialists were teaching a poodle to shake hands with all 4 of their arms. His best stealth operative was taking selfies with a Dalmatian. "Get me a direct line to Thompson," Vex ordered. When Thompson's face appeared on the screen, he was grinning. Behind him, an alien soldier was learning how to give a dog treat to a very patient German shepherd. "I demand an explanation," Vex said, trying to maintain his commanding tone. "What are these creatures, really?" "They're dogs," Thompson replied simply. "Companions, helpers, friends. We train them to assist in military operations, sure, but mostly they're just really good boys and girls who want to make their humans happy." "But our intelligence—" "Look," Thompson interrupted, "why don't you come down here yourself? Meet Max. See what these battle beasts are really like." Vex looked at his command crew. Every one of them seemed eager to accept the invitation. He sighed deeply. "Fine, but I'm bringing security." "Of course," Thompson smiled. "And I'll bring tennis balls." As Vex prepared to leave the bridge, he heard one of his junior officers whisper, "Do you think they'll let us take one home?" This was definitely not how he'd expected this mission to go. In the analysis chamber of the Dreadwing, 12 of the Empire's finest intelligence experts sat watching hours of footage from the K9 facility. Their task was simple: figure out how humans had managed to turn savage beasts into loyal companions. Surely there had to be some advanced technology involved. "Look at this one again." Lead analyst Green pointed at a screen showing a German shepherd sleeping on an alien soldier's feet. "The beast has completely immobilized Private Hull, yet everyone acts like this is normal." "That's nothing," another analyst chimed in. "Watch this footage from their break room." The screen showed a small brown dog bringing tissues to a crying human. They train these creatures to identify and respond to human emotional states. It's incredible psychological engineering. Meanwhile, down at the facility, Commander Vex was having his own revelations. He sat in Thompson's office, watching Max rest peacefully in a corner. The dog occasionally wagged his tail whenever anyone looked his way. "So you're telling me," Vex said slowly, all four eyes fixed on Max, "that humans just found wolves thousands of years ago and decided to make friends with them?" Thompson nodded, sipping his coffee. "Pretty much. Took a lot of generations of breeding and training, but yeah. Dogs and humans. We just kind of clicked. Without genetic engineering. Nope. Without mind control devices. Just treats, praise, and lots of love." Vex's universal translator struggled with the word love, offering 7 different possible meanings. None of them made sense in this context. Up in orbit, the analysis team was reaching new levels of confusion. They had discovered something called dog videos on the human internet, and it had thrown all their theories into chaos. "Sir," one analyst called out, "according to this data, humans spend approximately 47% of their internet bandwidth sharing images and videos of these creatures, not just military footage. Pets, civilian dogs, even tiny ones that fit in bags. Look at these terms," another added. "Good boy, puppy, doggo." They've developed an entire specialized language just for communicating with and about these beings. Back at the facility, Thompson was giving Vex a tour of the kennels. They stopped at each dog, and Thompson explained their different roles: search and rescue, explosive detection, patrol work. But what amazed Vex most was how happy each dog seemed to be. "I don't understand," Vex admitted, watching a young lad practice finding hidden objects. "Our initial scans showed their brain patterns were complex, indicating high intelligence. We assumed they must be bioengineered." Thompson laughed. "Dogs are smart, no doubt about that. But their real gift is how much they care about working with us. They actually want to help." "Want to?" Vex's translator struggled again. "Here, let me show you." Thompson pulled out a training dummy. "Max, come." Max trotted over, alert and eager. Thompson set up a simple exercise, hiding the dummy behind some boxes. "Find it." Vex watched in amazement as Max systematically searched the area, nose working, tail wagging. When he found the dummy, his whole body wiggled with joy. "See," Thompson said. "He's not doing this because we modified him or forced him. He's doing it because it makes him happy to work with us." The concept of a military asset being happy was completely foreign to Vex's understanding. Yet the evidence was right in front of him, wagging its tail and looking for praise. In the analysis chamber, the team had reached a stunning conclusion. One analyst stood to deliver their report. "After extensive study, we believe we have discovered humanity's greatest achievement. They have turned what should have been natural enemies into loyal allies, not through force or technology, but through something our species has never considered: mutual friendship." The room fell silent as they considered the implications. If humans could do this with wild animals, what else were they capable of? Vex was wondering the same thing as he watched Thompson play fetch with Max. Perhaps, he thought, they had all underestimated humanity in entirely the wrong way. The Stellar Empire's High Command meeting room was in chaos. On the massive screen at the front, footage from the K-9 facility played on repeat. Alien soldiers playing fetch, dogs performing tricks, and what the High Command found most disturbing: their troops removing protective gear to pet the battle beasts. "This is unacceptable." Admiral Blue slammed all 4 hands on the table. "Commander Vex was sent to contain a weapons facility, and now our soldiers are throwing balls for these creatures." The Emergency Diplomatic Council had been called into session after news of the failed containment mission spread. Humans from Earth's United Defense Force were present, trying not to smile as they watched the footage. General Parker of the UDF cleared his throat. "If I may, Admiral, I believe we can clear up this misunderstanding." Staff Surgeon Thompson is ready to give a demonstration. Thompson entered the room with Max walking perfectly at heel. Several alien officials moved back in their chairs, but others leaned forward with obvious curiosity. Distinguished members of the High Command, Thompson began, I'd like to show you exactly what these weapons can do. He turned to Max. Sit. Max sat, his tail wagging slightly. Lie down. Max lay down. Roll over. Max rolled over, and someone in the back of the room made a sound that might have been an awe. Admiral Blue wasn't impressed. Yes, basic command protocols. But what about their combat capabilities? Our intelligence showed. Sir, Thompson interrupted politely. I'll demonstrate that too. He pulled out a padded sleeve. This is what we use for protection training. Would any of you like to volunteer? The room went silent. Finally, a young alien officer stepped forward. I will do it. Thompson helped the officer put on the sleeve. Now Max is trained to respond to specific threats. He can detain someone if needed, but, Thompson smiled, he's also trained to be gentle with friends. What followed was a detailed demonstration of Max's training. The dog could switch instantly between playful companion and serious working dog, but even in protection mode, he never showed any real aggression. When Thompson gave the command to release, Max immediately backed off and sat calmly. You see, Thompson explained, dogs aren't weapons. They're partners. They protect us because they want to, not because we force them to. An alien scientist raised a hand. But the training facility, all those obstacles and equipment, those are for exercise and skill development, Thompson said. Like this. Max, agility course. Using some chairs and tables in the room, Thompson quickly set up a makeshift obstacle course. Max ran through it with obvious joy, weaving between chairs, jumping over a low table, and finally sitting proudly at the finish. The room had gone quiet again, but this time it was different. The aliens were watching Max with new understanding. There's more, Thompson continued. Dogs help us find lost people, detect dangerous materials, guide those who can't see, and provide comfort to the sick and injured. They're not just military partners. They make our whole society better. A very old alien in the corner spoke up. In all our years of space exploration, we've never seen anything like this. Species working together not through force or technology, but through, what do you call it? Friendship, Thompson said simply. Trust. Love. The universal translators in the room buzzed, trying to process these concepts. Admiral Blue looked troubled. If what you say is true, then we have made a serious error in judgment. This isn't a weapons program at all. It's something far more interesting. Perhaps, General Parker suggested with a smile, this could be an opportunity. Instead of a diplomatic incident, we could turn this into a cultural exchange. As if to support this idea, Max chose that moment to sit next to Admiral Blue's chair and gently place his head on the alien's knee, looking up with soft brown eyes. The Admiral's stern expression melted slightly. Well, perhaps we could learn more about these dogs. Thompson and General Parker exchanged knowing looks. They'd seen it happen countless times before. Nobody could resist a dog's charm, not even alien admirals. Commander Vex never imagined he would be sitting on the ground in a human facility, but here he was. A small puppy, which Thompson had explained was a young German shepherd, was sleeping in his lap. His lower arms gently supported the puppy while his upper arms held a datapad recording observations. They sleep a lot at this age, Thompson explained, watching with amusement. Just like your own young ones probably did. We emerge fully formed from genetic chambers, Vex said absently, then looked embarrassed. That was classified information. Thompson just laughed. Your secret's safe with us. Though Max might tell the other dogs. Max, lying nearby, lifted his head at the sound of his name and thumped his tail against the floor. The facility had changed a lot in the past week. Alien soldiers now regularly attended training sessions, learning how to work with the dogs. The kennels had been upgraded with some alien technology to make them more comfortable, and several members of the Stellar Empire's science team had taken up permanent residence to study the human-canine bond. "I still don't understand something," Vex said, carefully adjusting his position to avoid disturbing the sleeping puppy. "Why did humans decide to befriend wolves in the first place? Our historical records show that most species avoid their natural predators." Thompson thought for a moment. "Humans have always been different that way. We see possibilities where others might see threats. Sure, wolves could have been dangerous, but we saw how they lived in packs, how they worked together. We recognized something of ourselves in them." In the training yard outside, an alien private was learning how to guide a dog through the agility course. The private's 4 arms made holding treats and the lead rope easier, but they were still struggling with timing. "Good boy," the private called out in carefully practiced English when the dog completed the course. Their translator couldn't quite handle the phrase, but they had insisted on learning to say it properly. "Your species is full of surprises," Vex admitted. "When we first encountered humans, we thought you were simply another warrior race. But this," he gestured at the puppy, then at the training yard, "this shows a different kind of strength." "The strength to make friends," Thompson suggested. "The strength to see past differences," Vex corrected. "To find connections where none should exist." A commotion at the facility entrance caught their attention. A group of alien dignitaries was arriving for their scheduled tour. These visits had become common since the diplomatic meeting. Every high-ranking official in the Empire wanted to see the famous battle beasts for themselves. "Would you like to help with the demonstration?" Thompson asked Vex. The commander looked down at the sleeping puppy. "I should maintain my professional distance." "Too late for that," Thompson grinned. "You've been chosen. Once a puppy picks you as their napping spot, you're officially part of the pack." Vex found himself smiling, an expression he was still getting used to. "Very well. But I have a request." "Name it." Could I be the one to explain about dogs to them? I think they might understand better, coming from one of their own." Thompson nodded. "I think that's a great idea. And look, your little friend is waking up just in time." The puppy stretched and yawned, showing tiny teeth that Vex now knew were not at all threatening. It looked up at him with trusting eyes, and Vex felt that strange warm feeling in his chest that he'd been experiencing more and more lately. "You know," Vex said, standing carefully with the puppy cradled in his lower arms, "I finally understand what you meant about love. My translator still can't define it properly, but I think I feel it." "That's the magic of dogs," Thompson said, patting Max's head. "They teach you about love without saying a single word." Together, they walked out to meet the dignitaries, ready to share their understanding of humanity's most unexpected and most faithful allies. 6 months after the K9 facility incident, as it became known in official records, the Stellar Empire's first joint human-alien canine training center opened its doors. The massive building, combining Earth architecture with alien technology, stood as a symbol of the unexpected friendship between the two species. Commander Vex, now Director Vex of Interspecies Relations, stood at the podium during the opening ceremony. Max sat at attention beside him, wearing a special collar that marked him as Earth's first official interstellar canine ambassador. In the audience, Staff Sergeant Thompson couldn't help but smile at how far they'd come. "When we first came to Earth," Vex began, his voice carrying across the crowd of humans and aliens, "we thought we had found a weapons facility. Instead, we found something far more valuable, a lesson in friendship that has changed our entire civilization." In the training yards behind the building, the first class of alien cadets was already working with their assigned dogs. The sight of 4 armed beings walking German shepherds, throwing balls for Labrador retrievers, and getting kisses from golden retrievers had become surprisingly normal. "Our scientists thought they would study Earth's battle beasts," Vex continued, reaching down to pat Max's head with one of his lower hands. "Instead, they learned about loyalty, trust, and yes, even love. His translator no longer struggled with these words. They had been permanently added to the Empire's language. Thompson thought back to that first day, when terrified alien soldiers had burst into his kennel expecting to find dangerous weapons. Now those same soldiers were among the program's most enthusiastic supporters. Some had even started bringing their families to Earth just to meet the dogs. Today, Vex announced, "We take another step forward." The Empire officially recognizes Earth's canine companions as a protected species, worthy of the highest respect. Furthermore, we are establishing exchange programs on 20 more worlds, where humans and their dogs will help teach our people about this remarkable partnership. The puppy that had once fallen asleep in Vex's lap was now a grown dog, specially trained as his personal companion. She sat proudly beside Max, wearing the insignia of both Earth and the Empire on her vest. When Vex had named her Hope, the human translators had struggled just as much as the alien ones once had with the word love. But perhaps most importantly, Vex said, his voice growing softer, "We have learned that strength does not always mean weapons, that power does not always mean force, and that the greatest discoveries can come from the most unexpected places." As if on cue, all the dogs in the training yard started barking happily, creating what Vex now knew was a chorus of joy rather than a cacophony of war cries. The alien cadets didn't flinch anymore. They just laughed and gave their dogs treats. After the ceremony, Thompson found Vex in his office. The alien commander was sitting on the floor, playing tug-of-war with Hope, while Max watched from his bed in the corner. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" Thompson asked, leaning against the doorframe. Vex let Hope win the game, all four of his arms raised in surrender as she pranced around with her toy. "Never," he admitted. "But I'm glad we were wrong about your weapons. The Empire has fought many wars, won many battles, but we never knew what we were missing." "And what was that?" "The chance to be better," Vex said, watching as Hope brought the toy back for another round. "Not through force or fear, but through friendship and understanding. Your dogs taught us that." Thompson nodded. Outside, the sun was setting on the new facility, where humans and aliens worked together, brought together by humanity's oldest and most faithful friends. What had started as a misunderstanding about beasts had become a bridge between worlds. And somewhere in the facility, a young alien cadet was learning the same lesson that humans had learned thousands of years ago, that sometimes the best way to find your strength is to make a friend.